What's up? What's up? This is Dean Anthony TV. I'm here to recap Titan Season 3. Episode 1. The season starts off with Jason Todd breaks his silence in the Batcave, steals plans for the system. Bruce is missing and Todd leaves and gets a call to go to the carnival. He goes searching around for himself and a dude in a long purple suit comes out in a cane and out of nowhere beats Jason to death. It looks like Joker. What an opening. The team gets together and forms a line and takes it out of the criminals. Bruce has a talk with Grayson. Grayson meets Barbara Gordon outside and has a police badge and confined to a wheelchair. So we assume she got attacked by Joker and became paralyzed. Then Grayson goes up to Batman and goes into the supercomputer. He tries Jason. Then the first round, and then the large files, the new Robin replacements like Kelly, the female Robin, etc. And Grayson was shocked as Bruce walks and catches him. And Grayson said, "You already have a replacement already. Why crap with another kid?" Then Bruce reassigned and tells Grayson to take over. Episode 2. The next episode starts off in the warehouse where 6 henchmen talk about Batman's whereabouts. And he told them he is missing. They see a bag from the ceiling and they fire at the wall scaffolding to get anybody missed at it. Then Red Hood dropped a zip cord. Exciting. The Red Hood appeared and told them to refuse to open himself, and it's the head of Joker. Perhaps. Grayson meets the Commissioner Barbara Gordon. She investigates the incident and the recent crimes in Gotham. The team, Superboy, Beast Boy, and Starfire are in Wayne Mansion, reading and eating in the place, so they made themselves comfortable. Starfire has flashback and turning bad intentions in the tongue that she fires blasts intercepted by the team. Grayson meets Professor Crane, aka Scarecrow, in Arkham. They talk. Then Grayson team up with Dove, Beast Boy, and Superboy. They go back to Wayne Manor and search for the several crews with 6 names to find the suspect of the Riddler. Hawk comes back, and Dove is not telling where he's at. And then Grayson has another talk with Barbara, and the inner city is Pearl with the recent crimes. The final scene shows the team fighting the henchmen of the back of the warehouse, Hawk, Dove, Nightwing, and Nightfire. Then, in the distance, a static voice in the background. It sounded like RoboCop. Grayson looks around, and it's Red Hood. Oh my god. It's a huge, cool fight. Nightwing takes out the billy club, swings back and forth at Red Hood, and he blocks it. Then Nightwing breaks apart with the club. Then he retreats. A very cool episode to start the season. Episode 3. It starts in Gotham when Grayson talked to Barbara about finding Red Hood. Episode 3. It starts in Gotham where Grayson talked to Barbara about finding Red Hood. Hawk gets a phone call from Jason. He's telling him to get hurt. Hawk asks where is he. He refused and he told him to meet in an old gym of the Department of Health closed years ago. Hawk walks in and he sees nothing, just a pool and old stuff there. Then he gets a call for Red Hood. He tells him to take off his clothes. Pause. Because he didn't want to get wired, and he does not told him to swim across the pool, and then he does. Once he gets to the other end, he looked right and left, and then Red Hood jumps out of the blue and in the front and stabs him with a tracking device in his chest. He goes back to the mansion, and then he's feeling funny, and the team analyzes him, and he sees the tracking device in his chest. Thanks to Superboy seeing it with its X-ray vision. Hulk basically, he said it was a bed connecting to the heart meter machine via computer. Red Hood tells Dove to meet him at the warehouse. She fights off the henchman. Then he walks into the other side with Red Hood and holds an 8mm at him. The bomb is going off 30 seconds and off. Superboy finished creating and deactivated and flew to Hulk, but it does the whole room on fire. Hulk has passed. She's pissed and cries. Episode 4. It starts off in jail where Professor Crane is attacked by another inmate. The inmate is trying to saying, Red Hood, I'm gonna get you. Then Delph is in grief in the death of the ninja. Corey, aka Starfire, is getting visions of Blackfire again. And Beast Boy is making the pizza and shooting fire. And she starts shooting fireballs randomly at him. And then she falls and it stops. Then Beast Boy brought her into the room. And she into a capsule to take control of it. Grayson takes Crane, brings her to the forest, and Barbara wants them back. Then goes to the science lab. And then Blackfire, then they speak a brief about the fight in a big fight in a chamber. Then Starfire and them turn the right light inside the chamber. Then they bring Crane. Then Grayson brings Crane in the cabin and tells about everything that's going to happen. Crane is asking if he want to tell Bruce and follow after him. Then they show a flashback of Grayson walking into the house. Then Starfire gets mad at the scientist and breaks the lock of the chamber and escorts her sister out of the building and put her into the car. The last scene shows Red Hood has a sniper gun and is about to shoot Crane. But Nightwind comes and pushes him to the floor in an epic fight with the billy clubs back and forth. And then he got hurt and walked. The end. Episode 5. It starts off in the woods where Red Hood and Crane. Then Crane puts a gas mask on him and charge up. And then Jason in the mansion's dream with a gun shot at him. And Bruce wakes up. Molly and Robin meets in a robber in the alley, and he attacks and beats him up. She leaves. Jason talks to a psychologist. She can't go through him. Goes to a lab to see Joker card, cat eyes, and maid dummy. Bruce comes. Then they go to a psychologist and still can't get through. Bruce takes him to the spot where his father and mother was killed. He has a long convo. Jason tells Bruce he never treated him like Grayson, and he does not feel good about it. Scarecrow tells him to get back. They brought to the body to Lazarus Pit and brought him back. He takes meds to stay charged. Jason suits up with dual guns and masks. He goes to the club and terrorizes everything and kills the dude that attacked him in the alley. Then he goes to Molly and brings the son, and she recognizes him and he walks out. Episode 6. It starts off in the restaurant where two cops are talking to each other, and another lady with white hair. She goes out and shoots a spear in a female cop's hand. Back in the mansion, Blackfire, Starfire, and Superboy and Beast Boy. Blackfire demands all of the things in the house. 6 years ago in the Gotham City, dark clothing woman goes to a museum to steal a vase, and Robin stops her. Then the fight, they find out, is Barbara with healed legs, and she's okay. Before that, the accident. So this is a flashback scene. Barbara and Grayson are in the house, and they gives her a giant necklace, and they make out. There's a scar on his shoulder. Crane and Grayson talks in a lab. The gray-haired lady comes out with a sword and slices the two doctors at Thomas and Martha's hospital. Starfire and Grayson investigates the hospital. Starfire goes into the house and walks upstairs. Superboy and Blackfire is in the car, and they talk about their origins. The Dark has a bomb in her chest, and Superboy speed deactivates the bomb, and the lady is safe. Bruce calls Barbara to meet her in the lab, and Red Hood appears. Then Grayson figures out the hair lady is the killer for the doctor. Flashback, they meet in the museum again. Robin, Barbara, and all of them fight the white hair lady slash Barbara with a wakatsu blade. It's a setup. Barbara is trapped, and it fights the gray hair lady in the wheelchair with the billy clubs. Grayson brings her back home. Then outside, Jason Todd and his enemies sniff the solution and make them high, and he tells them to rob the grocery store. Episode 7. It starts off with Jason finding out what Mr. Crane is doing. He said to switch from weed to acid. Crane get Red Hood another dose, and he chokes out and falls to the floor. Then the warehouse and the other thugs Crane set behind the Red Hood situation is getting acids and intakes. Grayson and Barbara goes into the Oracle chamber. They hear sounds in Crane's whereabouts. Jason wakes up. Starfire and Blackfire talk in a car about the 54% rule. Then there was a civilian in the van found a bomb in his chest, and it's just Hawk. It's a trap. Superboy throws Grayson to the far background. There's a guy who worked in a warehouse came to meet Starfire and the old lady. They become to talk about Crane, and the old lady pulls out a gun and shoots the dude in the forehead. Pause. Starfire and Blackfire talks. Blackfire was given gauntlets and the rest of the costumes on a full body suit. Crane talks to everybody hooked. Nightwing and the rest of the team shows up and attack the thugs. Nightwing uses billy clubs and Starfire stopping all the bullets. They meet back at the Wayne Manor, and Grayson meets Barbara in the room, and they fall for each and make out. Episode 8. Superboy and Starfire are making out. Grayson told Beast Boy that Bruce Wayne is Batman. They're talking about the flying Graysons and when his parents died. The random said you are Robin, then Nightwing, and Robin to Nightwing, a tradition to adulthood. He meets Tim Drake, and he wants to be the new Robin. Meanwhile, Jason begins a warehouse, and Crane walks in. Crane talks to him and beats him up. Grayson talks to Barbara in the hospital. Grayson is hurt. Starfire wakes up in a movie theater, and Blackfire approaches her. She walks stroller and opens up, and it's a baby with green eyes. He remembers him as a kid with an old Robin. Crane meets his mom in the house, and the SWAT team came out and found her dead. More flashbacks of Robin in the Grayson mind. He meets Jason in the warehouse. Then Starfire finds out he wears outs from Batman, and she kills, and the other one does not. Then Starfire and Nightwing meets in the warehouse. Then Crane and Starfire shoots and slams at him and burns the thing under him and activate them. Then the last scene, Barbara is setting up in the police station, and she sees a Batman cross out symbol. It ends. 9. It starts off when Bruce Wayne talking to Gerald in his paperwork, or the will of Bruce, and it looks like he's going to give it up. Black Star is on the island with Raven. She is teaching her to fight, and she swung a sword up. Tim Drake meets Raven and another peoples. Donna meets Tim Drake in the soul world. Donna tells he is dead. Tim is scared and runs away, and Tim walks back home, but the soul is in another world. Then they see two strange, and they're shooting powers to them. The transfer of Donna's soul is stopping. Then Donna meets Hawk in the car back in the soul world, and he's back, and he said he's dead there. He tells her to tell Dove. Donna talks to Hawk. She is in the afterlife, back in the soul world. Donna's talking to Hawk, talking to Deathstroke, who killed Gareth. She said she died at a carnival. Bruce poured gasoline on the floor of Wayne Manor. He's trying to get rid of the past. Donna wakes up, and she is out of the soul world. Episode 10. It starts off in the hospital, looks at an eye test, and morphs back and forth. He is hallucinating. Then in a GPD police department, Barbara, they are pouring something into the water, and that could be doing this. It's Crane. It's Crane's big plan. Jason meets up with Crane. He shows him a yellow car. He shows Gotham is in need of a new product. Batman abandoned Gotham. Now Nightwing is in charge and is poisoning water. He is a criminal and he should be stopped. That's what Crane said. A new hero will rise in its Red Hood. Barbara and Grayson comes up to the plan to stop Crane and Grayson. Their bots flying in the air, in the manor. So stuff is going out of control. Donna drove a car to the end of the city. She gets out. Starfire fights an infected person, then Beast, Boy, and then Superboy. He then tells them that the water is poison. Then Donna sees Ra's al Ghul at the end of the city. She tells him you have to be tested to see what happened to her. Then she captures her and puts her in a training ground. She's not afraid of her, of Lydia. Crane peps up Jason, says that Red Hood's the key. He calls his mom, and he says he's not the same person. Back in Wayne Manor, Starfire says they have manipulated everyone to believe that they are the problem. They all suit up. Donna fights Lydia in the forest with swords, and it's intense. Then, meanwhile, the rest of the crew in the GPD station all suited up. They walk into the station, right in the front entrance. Black gets shot by the shoulders, and it's outraged they used her powers. More and more of the people came into the police department, there's cops and the soldiers, and they knocked off all of them. With Superboy shoots his laser beam and knocks out somebody. Starfire is healing Blackfire, and he brings her into the church. And then Blackfire double crosses her and sucks all her powers inside of her. Now the cop lieutenant arrests Barbara and read her rights. Now everyone's robbing the city. Everything in chaos, and they stole TVs and spray canned the walls. Beast Boy is laying on the floor, hurt in the building. Raven appears and finds whatever happened to the city. Now it's Crane in control of Wayne Manor. The flashback happens. Then it shows Jason's time with Bruce. So he thinks about it in his head as he's cutting the painting of Bruce, Thomas, and Martha. They have officially taken over. Episode 11. Crane cuts off his beard, sitting in Bruce's chair in the back cave, finding out what the computer has for the history of Crane. Crane talks to Jason. Red Hood is broadcasting from the cave. He wants to meet Lightning. Donna meets Tim Drake. He wants to go to Chinatown. Grayson goes to Wayne Enterprises. They go to Tim Drake's parents' house, and Tim has very high security equipment in his room. Meanwhile, Starfire is in the street. She's with the lady and with a baby and a random dude, and it comes up to the point at the lady with the gun. Starfire jumps in and takes a shot. She wraps it in her world, and she meets her parents. And they call as Coriander. They say she is the successor to the throne. Then Crane is a pizza delivery dude, and attempts to cut off a razor blade. Donna and Tim figure out a plan. Then Starfire awakens. She is okay. Her powers return. Then in the warehouse, Red Hood gets baited by Grayson. The gas can explodes. Grayson goes through fear. And then he changes into Nightwing. Nightwing fights the Red Hood. It's an intense fight. He knocks down Jason. They go back and forth, and it's crazy. It's a crazy fight. Then all the civilians surround them. Nightwing grabs his gun and hesitate to kill Jason. Then Nightwing gets shot by the dude behind him and falls out. The people are cheering for Red Hood, worshiping him, and they shot down Red Hood. He's dead. They beat him up, stomping him into the floor, and left for dead. Crazy. Jason goes back to the mansion. He sees the dude on the table and knocked him out. And Crane comes out, slashes his face in 4 or 5 different places, and he says, "No time for mass." Episode 12, Portico. It starts with Raven. They go back to the spot where Grayson gets beat up in the streets. He looks dead. Beast Boys was next to several bats and turned into the man bat creature. All the bats come and bring him to the pit, and Raven uses her powers to revive him. Red Hood and Crane says Nightwing is presumably dead. Crane fights Red Hood with a chain. Dude is crazy. Barbara is in jail, laying down. "Who's the judge?" says Crane. The pit was bubbling. Nightwing is in the soul world. It shows his parents are dying, other stuff happening in the past. Crane is putting lies in his mind, and it looks like he could be him who killed Jason. He could be the one. He could be Joker. Wow. Tim Drake and his parents plan to attack to protect the base. Then the GCPD tank appears. It's Donna. She's back. She scans Beast Boy, and the pit is rumbling. Then he sees Crane, says he cannot do anything. Then he swings at Kane. As soon as it happens, Grayson wakes and his fist comes out of the pit. Blackfire wants to go back to her home, to Tamarin, her home planet. She needs Superboy to ignition to fuel the plane. Grayson talks with Jason on the same where they left off for dead, but he's back, and Grayson asks Red Hood to join him to fight. He agrees. Meanwhile, some dude goes to jail to see Barbara. She's playing possum and knocks him out, and she escapes and talks to Oracle. Nightwing and Red Hood goes inside the warehouse. They find the solution. Episode 13, the season finale. It starts off. The GCPD is getting ready for Professor Crane. He is intense. They go to the station to get Barbara. They wanted to examine activity by Argus. Raja Ghul uses the Lazarus pit to revive Jason Todd, she said. They surrounded Tim Drake, Donna, and his parents. They are firing back and forth. And the Raven goes out of nowhere and uses her power to clear the area. Superboy was scolded by blowing up the spaceship and for them to go back home. Blackford said he just did it. Grayson is talking to Barbara about Argus. Crane says this is the beginning, and there are 10 bombs around the city, and they have to find them. Crane released the gas into the city. The team created a plan to attack. Grayson leads. He said he'll run around the city. The bombs is set up by Crane. That's what he wants us to do. He doesn't want to make a mistake again. And Raven has to drain the Lazarus pit. Grayson said that Barbara needs to activate his computer system in main Wanna. Blackfire, Starfire, Raven surround the pit. Raven uses her powers to drain the pit, and then she pulls it into a dimension. But there's an issue. Red Hood takes out the GCPD soldier that came through the window and spin kicked him. He saw Beast Boy, who tries to go to the mainframe in the house, but Jason interferes. Grayson tells Beast Boy to cut the red wire, and they hesitate. You're not supposed to. Then they enter the password. The password was Selena Kyle. Starfire created a fireball from the pit, brought it to the sky near the city area, and created a purple rainstorm. They get into a main room, and they surround Crane and knock him out. Meanwhile, in the city area, they use the purple rain to revive the people on the toxin gas, so everybody go back to normal. Bruce is back in the car, and he drives down the city. Bruce tells Grayson that You succeeded where I failed. Grayson said I failed too, but was given a second chance. Bruce said that he wished he has the strength to do yours. He asked Bruce, when did you kill Joker and what you did that for you? Barbara tells Grayson thank you. Donna tells congrats for finding Nightwing. They take a drive. Then they decide to take a tour bus instead of a private jet. Blackfur asks the Superboy to get nitrogen and gas so that he could breathe on Terra and he could go back with her. She says that he'll invite her later down the line, and he agrees. They arrested Crane, put him in a high priority cell in Arkham Asylum. Raven said she has something for him, and she goes out. And then she casts a spell and brings something out of her mouth of a bad dream and places it inside him. They walk out. The end. I give season 3 a 8.8 out of 10. It had an excellent story this time, better than the first 2 seasons. Red Hood, Crane, and what happened to Nightwing all was deep. I'm looking forward to next year.